The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game has been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, this is a special kind of spontaneous live that I just decided to do because there's been some videos dropping here on the channel, but I really haven't dropped much videos on the fights that happened last weekend or much of the news just because there's some things that I've been more focused on. There's been things I've been more focused on. You know, like for those of you that don't know, I left my camcorder charger at Mundo Boxing Gym, and it's been there for weeks. So I finally just got it back today. So I'll be making my rounds to the gyms in South Florida real soon, and I'll be getting you guys more content. Great interviews, too, big ones, important interviews that you guys are gonna be looking forward to. So there's that, and I just wanted to basically just kind of give a little rundown and a synopsis of all the fights that happened last week, even some from this week, and just talk with you guys for a bit while I'm here. So that's what it is. Shout out to everybody who's here because this was unplanned. I'm not expecting much from this live. So if you're here, smash that like button. Do all that good stuff. Subscribe if you're new around these parts. I'm pretty sure if you're watching this, you're not new around these parts. But if you are, do that. Before I get into last week's stuff, I want to give you guys some programming reminders. Tomorrow, I'm going to be live for the Daniel Dubois fight in the afternoon in England. And I'll also be live for Victor Postol versus Jose Ramirez at night. So 2 live fight reactions tomorrow. This is your first of 3 lives over the next 36 hours. So, yeah, gonna be definitely putting in a lot of work here in the coming days. But before I get into last week's action, let's acknowledge some comments because I like to make sure that I acknowledge everybody, that nobody gets left out. Because if you come here and you watch my lives, you know, you're pretty much like, you know, I consider you guys kind of like family. Even though I don't know most of you guys, I consider you guys kind of like family because, you know, you're part of the untouchable True School Sports Empire. The True School Sports Empire wouldn't be untouchable without the people who watch me. So I appreciate everybody here. Getting to the comments. We got, let's see. We got my main man, Keen Mitch. He says, Kool-Aid with no motherfucking sugar. That's right, Jerome Muller. You know, the old unofficial sponsor of True School Sports. Yeah, I hope you're doing well, Keen. Nordic Warrior. Shout out to my main man, Nordic Warrior. Got much love for that guy. Great person. Puts out good content, and he's been very nice to me in the past. So shout out to him. Hope you're well. Hope you're well, my friend. Hashman Boxing. Did you catch the Chris Kongo performance? I did. I'm actually gonna talk about that a little bit here. Arsenal Maniac asked, True School, are you an Everton fan? Yes, I am a massive Evertonian. I love Everton, even though we're trash and we're not really performing too well over the last couple of years. You know, so hopefully Ancelotti can do his thing and get some new players in. But yeah, I'm a huge Everton fan. Glenn Avery, what's up? What up, BT? What's up, Glenn? Hope you're doing well. Andre, what's up, champ? How you living? IBT Immortal Boxing Truth says, what's poppin', bro? What's poppin', champ? How you living? All right, yeah. By the way, before we proceed any further, like I'm not a big. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. You guys are probably gonna judge me right now, but I've never seen the movie Black Panther. But I do want to say rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman. He unfortunately lost his life just recently, like in the last hour or so, to colon cancer. So God bless him and his family, and just my condolences to go out to him and anybody else who's losing a loved one at this particular time in human history. God rest his soul. I don't want to waste any time. So if you guys have any questions, I'll get to it at some point. But there's a lot I want to get through, and yeah. So last week there was a lot of boxing on. There was so much boxing on that there was no way that even I could, you know, go live for all the fights. There were some that I missed. There were some that I watched but didn't pay as much attention to. It was a bit tough, but after a couple of days of going back and watching the fights, just a couple of fights that I want to talk about. We'll start with the one fight that happened on Channel 5 in the UK. There's one fight in particular that happened on Channel 5 last week on the Shakan Pitters. I don't know how to say his name, but Shakan Pitters undercard. My main man, 50 grand, Isaac Chamberlain, he returned back to the ring. And I was really excited just the fact that he's fighting again because, you know, it's been a long time since he's been active. Prior to this fight, you had to go all the way back to the Luke Watkins fight to find the last time that Isaac Chamberlain was in the boxing ring, fighting. You know, he's had a lot of things going on. I've had a chance to see some of the things going on in his career firsthand, from changing trainers to changing promotional companies to, you know, fights being canceled, dates falling out, some dates the public knows about. in some dates people don't know about. I've had a chance to see Isaac go through some of his struggles. So I'm a bit more invested in his career than probably most people. I like Isaac. He's a friend of the channel. But even before I knew Isaac, I was a fan of his. I like Isaac. I wanted to see him do well. Isaac had his first fight on that card. He scored a third-round TKO victory over Anthony Woolery, who was pretty much like a nothing opponent. A guy just ended up making him look good. It was third-round stoppage. His next fight is actually going to be not this weekend, but the following weekend. So we're talking about 2 fights for Isaac Chamberlain in the span of 2 weeks, which I think is a great thing for him in his boxing career because he needs the activity. He needs to be in the ring, mixing it up, making himself a true factor in British boxing because this was a guy that prior to the Lawrence Okoli fight was getting a lot of buzz. He had won British Boxing Fight of the Year when he fought Wadi Camacho with the messed up I think it's the shoulder. There was that fight. So Isaac is good to see him back in the mix. And right now, if you look at the British domestic cruiserweight scene, you got a lot of good names there. You got guys like Dion Juma, who called out Isaac Chamberlain. A lot of you guys out there who don't follow British boxing closely probably don't even know a lot about that. But Dion Juma was a guy that was very vocal in the media calling out Isaac Chamberlain. He was going to all the stations and media outlets, and Isaac kind of like big time them. Like Isaac was like, "Yo, you don't bring enough money to the table," and that kind of thing. So maybe that's a fight they can look into in another 2 or 3 fights for Isaac once he knocks out the ring rust all the way. You got guys like him. You got guys like Craig Glover, who most people would probably know from fighting Chris Billam-Smith in the British boxing scene. But he's a strong, sturdy, solid fighter. He's managed by Tony Buddy, a good fighter. That would be a good match for Isaac. You got Jack Massey, who fought Richard Riakpo for the British cruiserweight title. That could be a good fight for Isaac Chamberlain. But the fight, I think, for him, that I would really be excited to see more than any of the other ones from all the British domestic cruiserweights. You have Riakpo, but I'm not sure Isaac's going to fight Riakpo because right now Riakpo is already a British champion. He's probably going to be gunning for world level soon. And I know that they're friends, so I'm not sure how that whole dynamic is going to work out. So I think the best and most realistic matchup of the British domestic cruiserweights that I really want to see, and I think would really give me a lot of answers to Isaac Chamberlain and if he can move past British level and break into European level, maybe challenge for world level things and maybe become a contender, would be the Chris Billam-Smith fight because Chris Billam-Smith, I think, is a solid guy. He's strong. He's got good punching power. He's somebody that if, as you saw in his last fight, he fought that dude, I think his name was Thornley. I can't remember his name, Thornley. He had a really padded record, and he got found out like that by Billam-Smith. Billam-Smith is durable. He's competent. He's got good punching power. And I think he could really ask some questions of Isaac Chamberlain, So that's a fight I want to see. But yeah, September 5th will be his next fight, and I really just want to see him continue to look good, continue to show the skills and the improvements that he's made in the gym because I've seen them firsthand, and really be a factor in British boxing because he was on his way there before he fought Lawrence Okoli, and then Lawrence Okoli set him back, and then his own career and his own life set him back. So shout out to Isaac Chamberlain. I'll be looking forward to his fight next weekend when it does take place. So yeah, September the 5th, he's fighting. His opponent hasn't been announced yet. It's a TBA, so expect it to be an absolute can. Moving on, and I'm gonna get you guys' comments. So if I'm not getting your comments right now, just leave them, and I'll get to them eventually. Moving on to the Matchroom card, which I was live for, and I've had a chance to go back and watch some of these fights. I've had a chance to think about some more of these fights in the aftermath of what's taking place. So we'll start with some of these fights in the undercard, and we'll start off with the heavyweights. Okay, you had Alan the Savage Babbage. He took on what's his name, Shondell Terrell Winters. And this is a fight that I was very interested in because Shondell Terrell Winters was a guy that was, I really think, overachieving at heavyweight because he's not a very big heavyweight. He fights with kind of like an amateurish style. I believe he had won an NABA belt against Evgeny Teslenko, whatever his name is, or Sergey. I can't remember his first name, but Teslenko. He beat Teslenko in Canada or Russia or whatever. He went on the road and beat him. And then he got to fight Joseph Parker off the back of that. Parker stopped him in 5 in February. And this was a chance for me to see if Shondell could really make something of himself in boxing because he was fighting a guy in Babbage who was very inexperienced as far as in the professional ranks. Because Babbage had only had like 3 fights. So I was looking for a better performance from Shondell. I didn't get it. I saw a very amateurish style where he was throwing a lot of pity-pat shots, kind of like the amateur boxing style. And I saw Alan Babbage, who was what his name implied he was. He was a savage. He was a guy that was pressing forward. He was a guy that was definitely and throwing grown man punches, trying to hurt him. And Shondell, it was insane to me because his hands were just lowering at a rapid rate. Like normally your hands don't lower it until you get tired of the middle rounds, the later rounds. Maybe you got some serious pressure put on you in the first couple of rounds. But his hands just seemed to drop immediately. And I was very disappointed with his performance. I was impressed to a point because I take into consideration that he's not fighting a world beater in Winters. I was impressed as far as my first impression of Babbage. I liked what I saw from him. He's got heavy hands. He doesn't have one punch power, but if you allow him to put punches together, he can really be a problem for you, you know? So good for him. You know, this is a guy in Babbage who was a solid amateur. This is a guy that won some amateur tournaments, fought for Croatia, did some good things. And listen, and I don't know if he's here because I'm not checking the comments right now, but shout out to my man L-Dog. He made some headlines. This man Alan Babbage was out here calling out Filip Hrgovic for a Croatian heavyweight super fight. He wants all the smoke of Hrgovic. He want, you know, and you know, who am I to tell him that he can't get that fight? But what I will say is Hrgovic has a lot of pedigree. Hrgovic has been in the professional ranks. I know from just being in the South Florida area that Hrgovic is getting world-class sparring at Mundo Boxing Gym. So I don't think that he's on the level of Hrgovic, and I think it'd be a really bad thing for his career. But if he thinks he can beat Hrgovic because he's got some sort of bad blood with him, you know, who am I to tell him no? Go for the gusto, you know, get what you got to get. But for those of you who don't know, Babbage was a Dillian Whyte sparring partner. That's kind of like his, I believe it's his manager as well. And you know, he did his thing against Shondell Winters. So yeah, I'll be keeping an eye out on him, and hopefully for his sake, they don't give him what he wants, because I think a Hrgovic fight would actually be bad for him at this point in his career. So you got that fight, right? Now, I didn't even write any notes down for this fight because I'll be honest with you. Shout out to my man Hashman Boxing, because he made a video about this, and I didn't get a chance to watch it, but he sent it to me on Instagram. So shout out to my man Hashman Boxing. You had Chris Kongo versus Luther Clay. That was the fight that, to me, you know, it was a fight that was, as far as compared to the rest of the card in terms of the action, it was very lackluster. But I don't want to disrespect Chris Kongo. I think Chris Kongo in this fight showed good ability against a fighter that was around his level in Luther Clay. He showed good technical skills. He showed the ability to put punches together. And I want to see more of him, because I'll be honest with you, like, I wasn't paying the most attention to that fight, but when I did pay attention, I did see some positive things from Chris Kongo. I know my man Hashman Boxing has been in my ear talking about Chris Kongo. I've heard Hashman talk about Chris Kongo. So Chris Kongo is a name that I filed away, Hashman, and I'm gonna be, you know, looking out for him, you know, because I just know the name, and I'm sure I'll be on other cards. But he showed the ability when he let his hands go in spots of that fight to place his punches properly. He showed the ability to put his punches together really well, you know. And this was a guy in Luther Clay who was very well tested. This is a guy in Luther Clay that had fought in like 7 or 8 different countries, you know, and he was very hungry coming into this fight. So when you're fighting somebody as hungry as a guy like Luther Clay, you do, even if it's at British level, you do got to show that extra bit of quality. And fair play to him, he did. I believe he won by stoppage. So, you know, shout out to Chris Kongo. You know, another fight in this card that really pissed me off, was the first fight on the card. It was Jack Cullen versus Zach Chelly. Now, these are two guys that, one guy was a British super middleweight champion. The other guy was a English super middleweight champion. And these things are different. They are not created one and the same, British and English. These things, you know, British is higher, much higher than English. British is where you want to be. English is kind of like a stepping stone title, as I would say. But it was a fight where Cullen was a lankier fighter. He had that kind of like Callum Smith build, where he's tall, he's got the tree trunk arms, you know, and he had okay power. But the guy that was throwing, you know, grown man punches throughout the duration of the fight, showing consistent work, showing the ability to back his opponent up, to be the ring general, to be the boss. It pays the cost to be the boss, like the great James Brown said. And that's what Zach Chelly was doing. He was the boss in the ring that fight, from round 1 all the way to round 10. I thought he was doing great, consistent work. Cullen had his spots. Cullen grew into the fight. Cullen showed a bit of his class as the fight wore on. But I believe Chelly was robbed, and unfortunately, he didn't get the decision. So, you know, it just continues a run of, my opinion, a run of piss poor decisions in British boxing. You know, I thought Natasha Jonas beat Terry Hawk. I thought Harry Scarf beat Troy Williamson. And, perfect segue. I thought that Delphine Persoon edged out Katie Taylor, and that's the next fight we're going to talk about. Katie Taylor versus Delphine Persoon. I've had time to think this fight over because when I watched the fight live, I was a bit emotional. I was a bit mad. But as I've settled into thinking about what happened and what took place, I think this fight was actually closer than the first one because Katie Taylor in the beginning of the fight fought more of her fight. She used her legs. She showed her class. She showed why she is who she is. She's one of the best women's fighters in the world. One of the best fighters in the world, period, in my opinion. She showed her athleticism. She showed her counterpunching. And it kind of felt like, I'm not going to lie to you guys, it kind of felt like, in a way, the first couple of rounds of that fight, it kind of felt like a replay of Mayweather-Castillo, where, Castillo in the first fight and in the second fight was the Matador, was the bull, and Mayweather was the Matador. Mayweather showed the counterpunching, and I kind of felt that way at first. But then eventually the pressure began to weigh down on the leg of Katie Taylor, and you saw Persoon closing the gap, cutting the distance, dropping solid body shots on Katie Taylor, slowing her down, making her have to fight in close quarters. And I told my dad this many times. We're talking about a lot of these British fighters that are trained by Adam Booth. Adam Booth trains his fighters to fight with their hands down. So if you notice, with a lot of Adam Booth fighters like Carl Froch, like David Haye, they all have the same sort of problems, and they all lose to the same kinds of fighters because they fight with their hands down. They rely on their reflexes and their athleticism. And then when they run into a good pressure fighter that has the slightest bit of punching power, they come unstuck and they don't know what to do. It's a problem I keep seeing with Adam Booth trained fighters. And, I thought Persoon did a great job of dropping a lot of body shots on Katie Taylor. I thought she did a great job of just overall making her presence felt. And I knew for a fact, and if you watched that live, if you were live with me and my pops, I knew that she wasn't going to get a decision because Katie Taylor is the golden girl of British boxing, so to speak. So it's unfortunate that Persoon got 2 losses on a record that I don't really think she deserved, but that's how the cookie crumbles. Katie Taylor is now in line for some big fights with either Jessica McCaskill or another fight that I think they should look into because it's been talked about for quite some time, and I think this girl is pretty underrated, actually, is Chantel Cameron. Chantel Cameron can fight her ass off, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe she beat Katie Taylor in the amateurs, so that's just what it is. Yeah, so I would like to see Katie Taylor definitely fight a Chantel Cameron, a Jessica McCaskill, someone like that, or Amanda Serrano if Amanda Serrano ever stops. Okay, I was just peeking into the comments. I wasn't paying attention to them, but I do see a super chat, so I am going to acknowledge it. This is how you can bring my attention. Give me a super chat. Karen from Chicago says, you always call it fair, and gave a shout out to Clay Collar. Yeah, man, and we're going to get to him at some point because I'm kind of just going through the cards periodically. So yeah, I'm gonna get to that eventually. By the way, shout out to my best friend in the comment section down below. I see him. Paul Wrights 23. My man Paul Martinez. Shout out to you in Chicago. One of Dayton Beach's very own, just like me. Hope you will, my friend. But yeah, shout out to Kevin for the super chat. I'm gonna continue calling it fair, and I want to get to the main event of that fight, and then we're gonna switch cards. As far as the main event on that card, because that's what the thumbnail is. That's what the whole talk of the whole week has been. Was Alexander Povetkin versus Dillian Whyte, and how that fight unfolded. Now, I said it during the live, and I've had time to think about it, and I stick by what I said. I think this fight, whether you like it or not, whether he wins the rematch or not, what it has done is it has shown the level Dillian Whyte is at. Dillian Whyte is not an elite heavyweight. He's very good. He's in that bracket just below elite, with Ortiz and Joseph Parker and like those guys. He's in that bracket with those fighters. But the elites, he ain't there. Because you're only elite if you beat a guy like Povetkin. You can't lose to a guy like Povetkin at this stage of his career, especially if you're elite. Because if you look at the guys that have beat Povetkin, they've only been elite fighters, okay? Vladimir Klitschko, one of the best heavyweights of all time, and Anthony Joshua. I don't want to take away and overshadow the positive things that Dillian Whyte did in that performance because he did show good boxing ability. He did show an improved jab. He was popping Povetkin's head back with the jab many times throughout the first 4 rounds. He even knocked Povetkin down twice in the 4th round. He had everything going in his favor.
He was in better shape too.
He came in better shape. He did a lot of things right. So I don't fault him for his preparation. I don't knock him. I thought he had a good performance, all things considered. But, it's like they say in sports. And with sports teams, like great teams will find a way to win, even if they're not in their best form. And teams that aren't great, even if they're at the best form, will find a way to lose. We've seen that many times in sports, So I just feel like it was one of those cases. And do I think Dillian Whyte is still worthy of a title shot? Yeah, I do. I do think he's worthy of a title shot. The WBC did own that title shot. But I am happy, and I'm going to say this again, I am happy that he lost, because this will expedite and speed up the process of us getting Joshua versus Fury for undisputed. That's what I want. That's the fight I want, and that's the fight I know the majority of the boxing world wants. If he wants to get a title shot after those guys are done fighting, then I think he deserves it, because he has taken a lot of risks. This freaking fight was a risk. He's gonna fight him again in a rematch, so you got to give him that credit, because this is a guy in Alexander Povetkin. Whether I know I'm gonna ruffle some feathers up by bringing up the past, but the reality is Deontay Wilder never fought Povetkin. You can say the whole Meldonian thing, but Povetkin was proven innocent in a New York State court. And if you want more information on that, you can go on True School Sports, type in Alexander Povetkin, Deontay Wilder, and there's videos on it from 2018. This guy is a dangerous fighter, and I knew that coming in. Whyte knew that coming in, and anybody who knows a lick about boxing knew that coming in. You know what I'm saying? So I just hope that in the event, like if Povetkin wins his next, if Povetkin wins the rematch, because a lot of people think he's gonna win the rematch, I hope Povetkin, they do right by him and they give him a title shot, because he deserves it. He deserves a title shot. If he beats Dillian Whyte a second time, he deserves a title shot. I don't care if he's 40, I don't care if he's 80, I don't care if he's 130. I know contractually he's obligated to fight Dillian Whyte in a rematch, but just objectively speaking from the heart, I don't even think Dillian Whyte deserves a rematch. You got your ass whooped. When you get knocked out like that, you don't deserve rematches. I'm sorry, you don't deserve rematches. And I know people might say, well, BT, if you're gonna use that logic, then you could have said the same thing about AJ when he fought Ruiz. But it's different though, because AJ had already been heavyweight champion. AJ had established himself as an elite fighter in the division. Dillian Whyte never clearly established himself as an elite fighter in the division. He didn't win any titles. He didn't win any like mega fights or anything like that to put him on that level. He won some mid-tier fights. He had some good. I consider the Parker fight a mild upset, but he never truly established himself as an elite heavyweight. And I personally, for me, I think when a guy like him, who has such a reputation as a puncher, gets knocked out, and I say the same thing for Wilder. When you get knocked out like that, and I know it's heavyweight boxing, but when you get knocked out like that, it does something to you mentally. It changes the psyche of a fighter. And unless you're a special fighter, like a guy like Evander Holyfield or like a Manny Pacquiao or a Roman Chalatito Gonzalez, you don't overcome a knockout loss like that. It doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. So we'll see what happens with Dillian Whyte. I wish him the best with his career, but I really just don't think he's going to be or prove himself to be an elite heavyweight. And that's just BT's opinion. Now, I'm going to pause for a second before I go to the next card. I want to get to some of these comments, because I do see some comments, interesting ones. I want to at least get to a couple of them. Let's see. Last one asks a great question. He says, hey, man, sorry, I just got here. What if he beats Povetkin with a KO? He just got caught. It happens. If he beats Povetkin with a KO, then I think that would just bring him back to where he was before he lost Povetkin. I kind of look at that. I would look at that as a good moral victory. It would show a lot of character. I would definitely give him a lot of credit. But, it's not – he's winning a rematch for a guy he was expected to beat. So I look at him as still a guy that's in that bracket below elite. That's my personal opinion. If he's gonna beat, if he wants to break into the elite status, he's got to be an elite fighter. So a guy like if they do a Josh rematch, maybe a fight like that, or maybe if he beats like one of these like undefeated young guys like a Hrgovic or a Dubois and takes their own, because I know Dubois has been a fight they talked about that's been thrown. That idea has been thrown out there multiple times. So I'm not trying to slide on. I'm not trying to condemn him for a loss, because this is a guy that has taken a lot of risks. But I just think there comes points in fighters' careers where you have to win certain fights. You gotta really show your level. And I just think in this fight, his level was shown, and there's no shame in his level. He's a good heavyweight. He's a top 10 heavyweight. He is a good opponent in a good fight for any of the elite heavyweights, but I just don't view him as an elite heavyweight. But as always, if he goes in there and proves me wrong on a consistent basis in big time fights and in the rematch with Povetkin, I reserve the right to change my mind. So I hope that answers your question, Lost One. Shout out to Lost One. We'll get to like 2 more comments. Let's see. We got my man Arsenal Maniac says Babic has way too many flaws against top opponents. He will get battered. He needs much more experience and fine tuning. I think so too, man, because he's loading up on everything, and he's got heavy hands. He's got some good qualities to him, but you're right. He needs a lot more seasoning, and I think if he fights a Filip Hrgovic, he's gonna get stretched horribly. Nordic Warrior says he beat Anthony Joshua when AJ was a novice amateur, and Dillian Whyte had a long kickboxing career before that. That's right. A lot of people don't even realize that. Anthony Joshua, I think Dillian Whyte was like his 3rd or 4th amateur fight. Like it was within his first 5 amateur fights that he fought Dillian Whyte in the amateurs, and then we saw what happened when they fought for the British title. Dillian Whyte had his little moment where he hurt him, but then Joshua recovered and ended the fight a couple rounds later. I think if they fought now, even though Dillian Whyte has improved as a fighter and gotten better, you got to keep in mind AJ's also gotten better. And the crazy thing with AJ, and people don't want to acknowledge this, but I'll acknowledge this even as somebody who is an admitted Tyson Fury fan and somebody that believes he's the best heavyweight in the world and that none of these guys can fuck with him. Anthony Joshua, of the quote-unquote big 3 at heavyweight, he's got the most room for growth. He's still relatively green. If you compare his rounds boxed to the rounds boxed in the professional ranks of a guy like Wilder or Fury, I think he's boxed like 40 or 50 rounds less than both of them. So there's room for improvement. We saw him improve in the Ruiz fight, whether you want to say that fight was boring or not. He's shown improvements at every stage of his career. So that's what it is. Get to one more comment. Shout out to Paul. I see you. My man Combe, the untouchable, True School Sports Empire. You know what it is, Combe. What's up, man? Hope you're well. Shout out to my man Colin Wales. Yeah, but come on, who would you rather see? Anyone fight Povetkin with a puncher's chance or someone younger than Whyte? Come on, who would you rather see? Anyone fight Povetkin with a puncher's chance? I'm not sure. I'm not really sure what the question's asking. Come on, who would you rather see? Anyone fight Povetkin with a puncher's chance? I mean, I guess I'll watch the rematch, man, but I'm just not. I really don't care too much for it, to be honest with you. But I want to get to the other cards, the ones that I really didn't watch or do any videos about, because that's really what this video is for. So there was a card in Russia, and you had a cruiserweight contender, a guy that I think is actually a very underrated fighter, and a guy that could go on to become a cruiserweight champion. And that's Alexei Papin. Alexei Papin was back in action for the first time in Russia ever since his close fight with current WBC cruiserweight champion Lulangu Makabu. And that was a close fight. I mean, if Makabu didn't get that knockdown against Papin, Papin could have got a draw or a decision because it was in his home country. So the knockdown actually wound up being the difference in that fight. Very quality win, an underrated win for the boxing career of Makabu. But Papin was in action for the first time, and he fought Ruslan Fayer. I don't know how to say his name, but he stopped him in the 6th round. And Papin actually became the first man to stop Alexei Fayer. Alexei Fayer, apparently, he fought Andrew Tabiti previously in his career, and Tabiti wasn't able to stop him. He went the full distance with Tabiti. And I know Tabiti's not the best fighter. I don't really think the most of Tabiti. You probably don't think the most of Tabiti. Tabiti has a very, amateur style. He hugs a lot. He's been that way his whole career. But it is a minor accomplishment in the career of Alexei Papin. But Papin is a really good fighter. He's kind of like, in his own way, a Dillian Whyte, where he came from a kickboxing background. He's still kind of learning him. He's still learning on the fly in boxing. And he's I think he's 12-1. He's 12-1. And he's 12-1 in his career. So he's only 13 fights into his boxing career thus far. And they threw him in there with Makabu. And Makabu was a seasoned professional. He's fought for world titles. Now he's world champion. And he did really well, Makabu. So Papin was a guy that even when he lost his fight to Makabu, I said to myself, man, this guy's gonna have a chance to really be something in boxing. So if you guys don't know about Alexei Papin, go check him out. He's a solid fighter. I like him. I think in this current landscape of cruiserweights, where right now Usyk moved up and some of the old guard retired, like Marco Huck, and Glavaki's getting up there in age, and Garcia's a heavyweight and he's not really active. The cruiserweight division in its current form is still taking shape. You got Okoli, who's a young guy that's coming up. You got some of those guys in the UK that I mentioned earlier, like Billum Smith, Isaac Chamberlain. You got guys like all kinds of fighters. Makabu I also mentioned, but don't be surprised if Papin picked up the title. Remember, I told you that Alexi Papin might mess around and pick up a title at some point in time. He is a good fighter. He is improving, and good to see him back in action. Now, another fight that took place was the Kingpin, Kevin Johnson. Shout out to Kevin Johnson. Kevin Johnson, for anybody who's really up on their boxing that knows about boxing, you know who Kevin Johnson is. This is a guy that's fought a who's who of fighters. He's fought Tyson Fury when Tyson Fury was a prospect. He's that guy that they kind of use for everybody. So he fought former cruiserweight, and he was a good cruiserweight in his day too. He fought Yon Pablo Hernandez, and many of you guys may remember Yon Pablo Hernandez. He was the guy that fought I think he beat Steve Cunningham, and he beat Troy Ross from Canada. But that Yon Pablo Hernandez and this Yon Pablo Hernandez are two different people. That guy was a cruiserweight. This guy is a freaking butterball heavyweight. I mean, this guy hasn't boxed for about 4 years or so. He was very inactive. It was his first fight since 2014, and it was a heavyweight, which is not really his natural weight class. He came into this fight 256, which is the highest he's weighed since 2005 when he fought when he was 217 pounds. And I'm not trying to shit on Kevin Johnson's win. Good for Kevin Johnson. He's got his career going. He's getting his paydays. He's doing what he loves. So hey, shout out to him. Fair play to him. He's providing for himself. So I can't hate on Kevin Johnson. He's definitely been somebody that throughout the years has been willing to take on all comers. Without guys like Kevin Johnson, boxing wouldn't even exist. We need Kevin Johnson. So I appreciate the Kevin Johnsons of the world, but I'm just talking about it to win in its proper context. This guy he fought was not in his known weight class. He was inactive, and he was like 38 plus pounds higher than his highest fighting weight previous. So good for him that he won the fight, but just call a spade a spade. All right, now this fight right here, I'm going to another fight. This fight right here, I actually just watched this before I came live, but this is the fight that the people wanted, man. The streets wanted this fight. And when I say streets, I mean the streets of Australia. The streets of Australia really wanted this fight. And that fight was Tim Tszyu versus Jeff Horn. That was a fight that I probably should have went live for, but I didn't. But I just had a chance to watch it, and what I'll say about that fight was that Jeff Horn looked incredibly shot. He looked incredibly shot. There's no other way for me to put it. He looked incredibly shot. Jeff Horn, and the thing is, I had a feeling he would be shot going into that fight because I was watching some of the pre-fight interviews, and his voice didn't even sound the same. Like his voice is all out of whack and messed up, and it didn't even sound like Jeff Horn in the interviews. So I knew that there was a possibility maybe his health is deteriorating, or maybe he's getting a little bit punchy, or something's not right with him. So I watched the fight. Jeff Horn tried to fight his normal Jeff Horn style. He tried to come forward. He tried to put this guy in headlocks. He tried to make it an MMA fight. He tried to make it a wrestling match. It wasn't working. By the end of the first round, Jeff Horn was getting lit up with right hands and body shots. And that's kind of how the fight played out. Jeff Horn tried to maul Tim Tszyu. He continuously kept finding out as the fight wore on that wasn't going to work. Tim Tszyu remained composed. He counterpunched him. He used the right hand. He was delivering some really good body shots. He dropped Jeff Horn 2 times. He beat the living piss out of him. And I'll put it to you guys like this. Jeff Horn was an ice block. He was a motherfucking ice block. And that ice block was getting chipped away at all these fights he was taking. So Manny Pacquiao, he chipped the ice block a little bit. Terrence Crawford, he chipped the ice block a little bit. The 2 hellacious fights with Michael Zarafa, he chipped that ice block a little bit. And then the ice block completely just got shattered and evaporated when Tim Tszyu got in there with him. So Jeff Horn is not the most defensively responsible fighter. He's not the most skilled fighter, but he's made a career for himself based on his tenacity and a little bit of fortune in his career. And he finally got really found out. Tim Tszyu made this dude quit on his stool. He made him say no mas like he was Roberto Duran and motherfucking Nicholas Walters. Okay, so I was watching the fight. They were saying pretty much that like when he won the fight that a star in Australian boxing has been born. Now, I don't want to throw salt on Tim Tszyu. I don't want to rain on his parade. Good for him. He won the fight. He's the first man to officially on paper beat Jeff Horn in a stadium fight, because we know Jeff Horn's a cash cow of Australian boxing. This guy fought Pacquiao in a stadium. He fought Anthony Mundine in a stadium, and neither one of these guys on paper was successful at beating him, even though I thought Pacquiao beat him. So he did make a little bit of history in his own right there. He did look impressive. He did show some flashes of brilliance against a Jeff Horn, albeit a shot Jeff Horn. But I don't have an opinion on Tim Tszyu. He did some good things well. He got decent fundamentals, throws punches to the body pretty well. But I want to see him in there with somebody who's a bit more fresher, who at this point in their career is a bit more durable than Jeff Horn. So I'm hoping for him his next fight could be against a guy like Michael Zarafa. I think that'd be the perfect step-up fight for him, because that's a guy that's not, world level, so to speak. But he's at a good level. He's been there with world level guys like Kell Brook. Gave Kell Brook a great fight. Gave Jeff Horn all he could handle. I believe he beat Jeff Horn one of those fights. So that would really, to me, show me a little bit more about Tim Tszyu. And I want to say this too about this fight. This fight was on free TV. So I don't know the promoters. I don't know who the promoters were for this fight, but shout out to them, because they really gave the people of Australia what they wanted. Tim Tszyu's a name out there. Jeff Horn's clearly a name out there, and it was on free TV. So you can't really knock that fight. It was on motherfucking free TV. So shout out to Tim Tszyu and being the first man to beat Jeff Horn in a stadium fight. Pacquiao couldn't do it. He failed. Anthony Mundine couldn't do it. He failed. So it is what it is there. Now, getting to a fight that I didn't watch last week when it actually happened. I actually found out about this the next day that it happened, because it took place after Sean Porter was fighting. And that's the fight between Liam the Machine Gun Kid Navarro and Justin DeLoach. This is a fight at 154 that I knew was happening, but I didn't realize that they were airing it after Porter fought as the main event on Fox. So I didn't see it. I heard about it. And wow. Justin DeLoach, man, I got to give Justin DeLoach a lot of credit. This is a DeLoach that, if you want to just look at on paper, right? Navarro, I'm very familiar with Liam Navarro. Liam Navarro trains in Miami. He trains under Herman Caicedo at the Caicedo Sports Training Center under Herman Caicedo, who's Louis King Kong Ortiz's trainer. So I'm familiar with Liam Navarro. I've seen Liam Navarro fight in person multiple times on the heavyweight factory cards. So I know him. He's kind of he's a South Florida guy. He's a Cuban fighter. Very experienced fighter, 312 wins and only 17 losses as an amateur. But if this is your first time watching him against Justin DeLoach, he may have had a bunch of amateur experience, but it clearly didn't look like a transition to the pros in this fight, because he looked nervous. He was throwing punches all weird and stuff, and it just didn't look like the guy that I've seen fight in person. And he picked the wrong fight to do it against, because he fought a guy in DeLoach who's been through a lot of shit in his career. This is a guy in DeLoach that if we could go back in time and remember 2017, 2016, DeLoach was he was fighting regularly on Showbox. I remember watching Justin DeLoach against Dylan Cook and Dominique Dalton, and who else was there? Dominique Dalton, Dylan Cook, Chris Pearson. He had a good little run of wins on Showbox until he ran into Nathaniel Gallimore, and Gallimore knocked him out. And that's the fight that put Gallimore on and made Gallimore a name in the division. But before that, DeLoach was being talked about as a guy to fight Erickson Lubin, and then they threw him there with Jason Rosario, and he was being used as an opponent. He fought Jason Rosario, lost to him, went the full 10, so he gets credit for that, because Rosario can punch, we know that. But then he fought Terrell Williams, the guy that fought Richard Colon, and he lost a split decision to him. So this is a fight where he was being brought in to lose against a guy in Navarro who was undefeated, had the amateur pedigree, and was the favorite to win. And Navarro just did not show up in this fight. He did not show up. He did not look prepared. I don't know if he overtrained or if the moment was just too big for him, but if you just watch him, he's throwing all these weird-ass punches, and his chin is in the air like Amir Khan. Like, it was just really a shame. It was a shame to watch, because I've seen him fight. He's a good fighter. Pearson, credit to him, though, he was prepared. He had been tested many times in his career before, and he ironed him out with right hands and left hooks and folded him up. He folded him up like a blue steel chair. You know, he tucked him into bed. You know, read him his ABCs and gave him milk and cookies and said, "Hey, it's time to get my career back on track." And I have the utmost respect for DeLoach because this is a guy that's fought a lot of people on 154. This is a guy that, you know, I went back and I watched some of his fights this week, including this one. And I can definitely see that there's growth there from DeLoach. There's maturity there from DeLoach. And I'm not going to make any like bold proclamations of him being a world champion, but this is a guy that I still want to see get the opportunity to mix it with the other top guys in the weight class. So maybe in the future, if he could keep getting some wins, Lubin, a guy like that, maybe Jamel Charlo. I think his style would give Jamel Charlo some fits because he's really good at putting his punches together. So we've seen Tony Harrison have success doing that, you know, in the second fight, even though he lost. So yeah, shout out to DeLoach, man. He's back in the win column, and I can't be nothing but happier for the guy. You know, the guy is giving boxing some good fights in the past. He's never ducked no smoke. He's never ducked opposition. And it's just good to see a guy like that win. A guy who's fought all comers. A guy that is actually fun to watch. A guy that throws punches and combinations. A guy that even when he's hurt, he still shows himself to be a dangerous fighter. Because if you watch the Gallimore fight, even when he was hurt, he showed himself to be a threat in that fight. So, you know, good for him, man. Good for him. Now, let's get back to the comments. There are some comments. I'll get to a couple. Shout out to shout out to my man Nadeem with the $7.99 super chat. Make sure y'all go follow Nadeem on Twitter. Nadeem, drop your Twitter handle in the comments down below, man. He has some great tweets. Funny guy. Karen from Chicago says it would be awesome if you could set up a call-in show. I gotta figure that out, man, because I know it's not that hard. I just haven't put any thought into it. I'm gonna do that. Really, really soon, actually, because I know people like that. And the thing is, too, like, I know a lot of fighters, so I can always have fighters on. But we'll definitely do that. One more comment. Cash Cow says, Tim Tszyu looks talented. He still needs to work on a few things and needs more experience to fight the top guys. I think so. I think he needs more seasoning. That's what I'm saying. I think a good fight for him would be a fight like Michael Zarafa, somebody who's not an elite fighter or even like a high world level fighter, but he's been there with world level guys like Kell Brook. He's been there with Jeff Horn multiple times. He's been there, even though he got stretched. He's been there with Peter Cullen. So that would give us more answers and more of a barometer as to where the hell he is in his career right now. Jeff Horn's not going to give us much answer because Jeff Horn has been through too many wars. You know, the two Zarafa fights alone are enough to end careers. So, yeah, man, I like Tim Tszyu. I'm rooting for him. I wish him nothing but success, but he needs to. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. Now, getting over to that top rank card, because I've had time to think about this top rank card and some of the fights that took place in the top rank card. The first fight, the first fight on that top rank card that I want to talk about is one of Ohio's very own, Duke Reagan. I think that's how you say his name, Duke Reagan or Reagan. I think it's Reagan. Duke Reagan. This kid right here, I was hearing about this kid for years before he even turned pro. I used to always see his name, and I knew other name. I just never knew him. But I knew he was a good fighter in the amateur because I heard the name. This kid was 151-19 as an amateur, 151 wins and 19 losses in the amateur ranks. He made his pro debut on Top Rank, and he looked in that fight. He fought a guy named Luis Alvarado, and he knocked him out in the first round. And he looked in that particular fight like a blue chip talent. So there's not much to take away from it other than the fact that he's someone that has good fundamentals. He's a very seasoned amateur fighter. He's someone that, he didn't fight down to the level of his competition. So there's not a whole lot to take from it, but he looked good in the fight. So best of luck to him in his career. He's someone that if you're looking for someone to look out for in American boxing that not many people are really talking about right now, Duke Reagan is probably a guy you want to look at. So remember that name. Good fighter out of Ohio. Now, I'll tell you guys this. To me, the performance of the card, and this is very hard for me to say because, you guys know if you watch this channel how much I love Clay Collard. I love Clay Collard. Clay Collard is probably my favorite fighter in boxing right now. Clay Collard, as it stands right now, is the True School Sport 2020 Fighter of the Year. Okay, I'm just letting y'all know that unless Jason Rosario wins, then maybe we have to discuss that some more. Or if Roman Gonzalez beats Estrada, or Tyson Fury, beat Wilder, maybe maybe him. But as it stands right now, with the current landscape, with what's happened this year, Clay Collard is my 2020 fighter of the year. So with that being said, for me to even say that anybody that fought on a top rank card performed better than him means that they had to have a damn good performance. And there was a fighter that did that, and that's this kid out of San Antonio. This kid, and I never heard of him before this card. So if any of you have heard of him before I do and have any information on him, because there's not a whole lot of information out there about him, Robert Biggie Rodriguez. He scored a first-round TKO over Abel Soriano, and this was a kid who, he's young. I believe he's like 21 years old, southpaw, and he can punch, man. Very good punching power, solid speed. He really looks like somebody that at these lower weight classes can be a really fun, exciting knockout artist of a prospect. Now I will look at his win in proper context. Biggie, even though he performed well, even though he looked like he looked like all that and a bag of chips against Abel Soriano. I mean, he dropped him 3 times in the first round and stopped him. It was the performance of the night to me. But Soriano, now interesting enough about Soriano was a guy that was trained by Brian McIntyre. He's very close to the Terrence Crawford camp. He trains at the B&B Boxing Academy, which is Terrence Crawford's gym. So when I heard that going into this fight, not knowing anything about these fighters, I said, okay, well, he's at Crawford's gym. Maybe this guy should at least be solid. I'm looking forward to seeing what this guy can do. And I think Biggie Rodriguez, because his nickname is Biggie Rodriguez, he was trained by Robert Garcia, if I'm not mistaken. So Soriano had a very padded record. Like after I went back and looked at his record, his box rec, very padded record. He was, I think he was like 10-0 or something coming into the fight. He was undefeated. But like his last 5 opponents' records before he fought Biggie Rodriguez and got stopped were as follows: 4-5-1, 1-4, 7-12, 0-2, and 0-1. That was the record of his last 5 opponents. So it's actually not surprising when you look at his padded record why he got folded up like a blue steel chair against Biggie Rodriguez. But I don't take anything away from Biggie Rodriguez. This kid, when I see prospects, I know if a kid can fight his ass off or not. This kid can really fight. He can fight his ass off. I give it to him. He can fight his ass off. Now, I was doing some research about him. He turned pro at 115. So he came into boxing as a super flyweight, and he recently just moved up to 118 because he's a bantamweight now. So he moved from 115 to 118 just last year, and this was his 6th fight at 118. Now, when he was at 115, he wasn't really getting these knockouts. Maybe he was weight trained. Maybe he was too big for the weight class, and that was affecting his power. But ever since he moved up to 118, he's been damn near folding everybody up like a blue steel chair. He's 6 since he moved up to 118. He's 6-0 at 118 with 4 knockouts, and that's just what it is. And then I want to give a big tip of the cap to the city of San Antonio right now, because San Antonio is churning out a lot of good fighters right now. You got this kid Robert Biggie Rodriguez, who I think is going to be a fixture on these top ranked undercards for quite some time. He's really exciting to watch. He's packing a big punch in the small weight classes. You got him. You got Joshua Franco, fresh off his win against Andrew Maloney. He's going to be in line for a big fight, potentially with one of the elites at 115. You got him. You got Hector Tanahara Jr., who a lot of people are say is underrated, and he's a good upcoming prospect for Golden Boy Promotions. And then you got a woman's fighter who hasn't made a pro debut yet, but she trains here in South Florida, and she's very talented. Issa Maria Aquino. So, like, San Antonio, stand up, man. The Spurs ain't a dynasty no more. The Spurs ain't winning championships no more, but it looks like the fighters of San Antonio will be in line to be winning some championships really soon. So, shout out to Robert Biggie Rodriguez. I'm a big fan of him. I can't wait to see the next fight. He's one of those guys now, because of that performance. When I see his name on an undercard, I'm going to be hyped to see him fight. So shout out to him against a fantastic, sensational, memorable performance against Abel Soriano. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is there. Okay, and then listen, we gotta really camp out here, and we gotta talk about this man, because y'all know how much I love Clay Collard. He fought on this card. Clay was awesome. Clay was absolutely awesome in this card. This is his 5th fight of 2020. This is a guy in Clay Collard, if you don't know. If you're new to the Clay Collard story, let me get you up to speed. This is a guy from Clay. This is a guy in Clay Collard that comes from the UFC. boxes just to keep his bills paid, pretty much. They used him as a stepping stone throughout his career against top prospects like Bektia Melikuziev, and then, Kushan Toller, William Guayardo, David Kaminsky. He's beaten 3 of those 4 names I just mentioned, 3 of them in this calendar year being Toller, Guayardo, and Kaminsky. He was not supposed to beat these guys. He was brought in to lose. I must establish this because this might get lost in the sauce. But since then, since he's beaten these 3 prospects, Top Rank has decided to say to themselves, you know what? This guy, Clay Collard, can fight his ass off. He's entertaining. He comes forward. He gives a good fight. Let's actually try to build this guy up. So his last 2 fights haven't been the best opponents. He fought that one dude from South Africa who he beat the shit out of back in June. And then now he fought this guy, Maurice Williams, who hadn't boxed in 14 months. Slick southpaw. There's some decent talent there, but, he wasn't anything crazy. And Clay Collard, in this fight, he showed a little bit of everything. He showed some boxing skills from the outside. He showed the Clay Collard that we know and love, that comes forward and presses people. He showed counter punching. He knocked him down, I believe, with a really short straight right hand. I mean, you watch Clay Collard fight, and there actually is more to him than just coming forward. Like, the guy actually does take some really interesting angles to these punches. He's got you could probably say that because people don't really bring this up about him, he actually does take underrated angles. His angles are underrated, which is why he's able to land such thudding shots. So he showed that in this fight. It was another sensational performance from Clay Collard. And he's 5-0 with 3 KOs in 2020. The impressive and impeccable underdog story of Clay Collard continues in 2020. And the question has to be at this point, because Tim Bradley did bring this up in the commentary, will Clay Collard have a step-up fight? Will he step up to that next level? And I think he should be in a step-up fight next. I want to see him in there with a name of some sort. So I'm not sure who that name is. I'm not sure who it is. I could throw out some names, but I'm not sure how realistic that is for Top Rank. Because we all know that Lorenzo Truck Simpson called out Clay Collard. That was a fight that he's been calling out for on Twitter. And he didn't look so hot in his last performance or his performance in January that I last saw. So I wouldn't mind seeing that. Some people were telling me on my live that maybe Joey Spencer could be a fight, but Joey Spencer is a prize PBC prospect. Clay Collard is a top-ranked fighter, so I can't see that happening. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. I'm not sure who Clay Collard fights next, but that's that I would expect. And even his dad, shout out to his dad, Chris Collard. Chris Collard, Clay's father, who I interviewed here about a month ago. He texted me after Clay won, and he told me himself that he fully expects that Clay Collard's next fight will be a name. It'll be someone we know. It won't be like a Maurice Williams. It won't be that guy from South Africa. It's going to be somebody we know. So I'm not sure who that is. Maybe it's Edgar Berlanga. I don't know. Maybe he's the guy to give Edgar Berlanga his first tough fight. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about that. But yeah, shout out to Clay Collard. And then another fight that happened on that card was, which I also thought was equally as impressive as Robert Biggie Rodriguez. So this might actually be in the running for performance of the night. Was Julian Rodriguez. Now Julian Rodriguez, this is a guy that I've been knowing about Julian Rodriguez for years. Hammer hands. I seen him fight on Terrence Crawford undercards. When I covered Crawford Lundy, I was there. I saw him fight, and he's been kind of one of these guys that Top Rank has had in the stable. And I don't want to say they had him on the shelf, but they never really truly promoted him all that much. And to be honest with you, Julian Rodriguez really wasn't a standout fighter. I've seen him fight a couple of times on undercards, and he was good. He was winning, but he wasn't stand out. He wasn't someone that when you see his name on an undercard, you say, "Damn, oh, he's fighting today." He was just there. But I can say for the first time with confidence that in this particular fight, he fought Anthony Loreno, who was undefeated, although I will say, and I will with context say, his record was padded. He blasted him out of there in the first round. He looked sensational. He was putting his punches together. He was throwing grown man punches. He was showing good speed, good angles. He looked like someone that could really be somebody that you want to keep your eye on at 140. And then what I found more impressive about his whole outing that night wasn't really so much his performance in the ring, but the kind of energy and the conviction he had in his post-fight interview. In his post-fight interview, he was saying, he was pretty much begging Top Rank, yo, line him up and I'll beat him. Like he kind of had like a young Floyd Mayweather type of energy to him, where he was like, line him up and I'll beat him. I got 2 kids to feed at home. I want all the smoke. Like he was saying like that kind of thing. And you know what? You know, if you fight like that, and if you're fighting like that, and you're giving people a good show, and you're that hungry, and you got something to fight for, I want to see Hammerhands get tested. And I want to see Top Rank give him whatever he wants. Whatever he wants as far as a test and a step up, give it to him, because this is a guy that is coming off of multiple shoulder injuries. This is a guy that has been lingering and kind of he's just been there. He's been fading in the background on these Top Rank undercards, and people haven't really been talking about him. But I think with a performance like this, he deserves a step up. He deserves a meaningful fight, and I think he deserves the right for us, the boxing fans, to see what he's really about. So, you know, great performance from him, and I'm gonna be keeping my eyes out for him in the future. So let's see. We'll pause for a second because I do have a couple more fights I'm gonna get through. But let's get to some comments, because I see like there's like 17 comments. All right, let's go down. Nadeem says Glenn rushed to make made Jeff Horn quit. Well, yeah, of course he made him quit, Nadeem. He wasn't following the 15-point plan. He wasn't following the 15-point plan. Let's see. Yeah, shout out to Melbourne. Okay, HB says, I actually got a video coming out about this soon. Jamel Charlo versus Jason Rosario will be fight of the year, nothing but pressure. You know, this whole video and this whole live is about fights from last week, but I want to kind of talk about it. I'll talk about this for a second since you brought it up. I've been binge watching Jason Rosario fights because there are a lot of fights I never saw before. Like 2 weeks ago, I just watched the Javante Clark fight. Last night, I watched the Gallimore fight for the first time. I didn't see that fight when it happened. And man, one common denominator that I've seen in every Jason Rosario fight at every stage of his career over the last 3 or 4 years is that he always hurts somebody. He always hurts them. It doesn't matter how he hurts them, but he hurts them. Sometimes he might hurt you with a counterpunch. Sometimes he might hurt you coming forward. Sometimes he might even hurt you with a jab. I was watching the fight with Gallimore, and mind you, everybody wants to bring up the Gallimore loss for Rosario, but they fail to mention that he was 22 years old. He was green. He was someone that hadn't even physically matured and got his man strength. And even at that stage of his career, he was able to hurt Gallimore with a jab. He hurt Gallimore with a jab. So the more of him I watch, like the more of him I study, the more I think that he will definitely hurt Jamel Charlo and maybe even hurt him badly. And people who don't really study Jason Rosario don't even know that he's got good boxing skills. The guy can box. The guy's good at pivoting. Like, these are things that people don't pay attention to. But I'm looking very forward to that fight. That's circled on my calendar. Let me see what else we got. But yeah, shout out to everybody here, man. I really appreciate it. This is mad spontaneous. Just so you guys know. And Nadeem says that it was pay-per-view over here, bro. Oh shit. Okay, and I stand corrected. Apparently, Jeff Horn versus, according to my main man Nadeem, apparently that Jeff Horn Tim Tszyu fight was on pay-per-view. Oh, you know what it is? I'll tell you why I thought it was free TV, Nadeem. Because apparently, according to L-Dog, because I saw L-Dog's tweet on Twitter, L-Dog said it was on free TV. So that's why I thought it was on free TV. But if you're saying it was $59.95, shit, man. They made a pretty penny off you guys. Anyway, moving on, because I don't want to make this live too long. Kind of closing out my my thoughts on the Top Rank card, right? A fight that I was really excited for, that probably nobody else in the world except me and like 2 other people were excited for, was Rob Brant versus Vitaly Koplienko. Now, Koplienko was a guy that many years ago fought Willie Monroe Jr. and he lost to him. And he's a guy that has had promotional issues and hasn't been very active over the years, but I know him personally from seeing him spar many fighters in the South Florida area at Fifth Street Gym, now he's at Warriors Boxing Gym. This is a guy that I've known for years, low key. So I was happy for him to get this opportunity against Rob Brant on short notice. And, I've seen him spar in the gym, and from the last time I saw him spar a couple of years ago to now, in the gym, he looked like he could improve. He has improved. But as I've said many times, it's one thing to look good in the gym, and it's another thing to look good under the lights. And he looks good in the gym, but he didn't look so hot under the lights. And believe it or not, I'm going to say this. Rob Brant, in this particular fight, this was the most, in my opinion, you would have to go back to the Showbox days when Rob Brant was knocking out the likes of Carlo Perez to find a performance this dominant from him. This was his first fight with Terrence Crawford's camp. He's joined Bomac. Brian McIntyre is his new trainer. And he looked good. He fought a guy in Koplienko who I think style, objectively speaking, was tailor-made for him. He kind of had the stereotypical Eastern European style that was straight up and down, feet wide apart, not like a whole lot of lateral movement. And he showed the boxing skills in this fight. He showed a good jab. He showed decent combinations. And it got so bad for Koplienko that eventually I think it was his right eye. His right eye was closed all the way shut. And, thank God his team, Timur Bragimov and John David Jackson, they said, no, we can't let you continue. And the referee didn't let him continue. So they waved it off in round 5. It was a good first step for Rob Brant because he wants to get a Ryota Murata rematch, a third fight. They're one apiece, so that could be a good fight for him if he continues to make improvements in the gym. And then he wants to be a factor at 160. So it was a good step in the right direction for him. And then to close it out, the main event was Joe Smith Jr. versus Eleider Alvarez. Okay, this is a fight that was very interesting to me coming into last week because Eleider Alvarez has a good resume. A lot of people were looking at him going into the fight as the third best light heavyweight in the world, a guy that was underrated. And this was going to be the fight where he really cements his place in the division as the third best guy, the best of the rest, so to speak. And that's just not how it panned out. That's not how it panned out. We saw a Joe Smith Jr. that outboxed Eleider Alvarez. We saw Eleider Alvarez that kind of went back to his old punching bag ways of not throwing punches and looking for one big shot. And he got the Bernard. It ended with his ass getting the Bernard Hopkins treatment. He got the straight Bernard Hopkins treatment in this fight. Got knocked out the ring, and I honestly, I thought it was the best performance Joe Smith Jr. ever had in his career. The best one from start to finish, the most complete performance of his career against a name, a guy that we know, a guy that's been champion, a guy that's respected in the division. So that was an eliminator. For some reason, I thought it was for a title, but it was an eliminator. So now I think he'll probably get a title shot. And for the time being, until proven otherwise, there's an argument to be made that Joe Smith Jr. is the third best light heavyweight in the world. You have obviously Beterbiev 1 and Bivol 2, or Bivol 1 or Beterbiev 2, but either way you slice it, those guys are the top 2 in the division. You got guys like Pascal who are still hanging around. So maybe you could say Pascal, he's third. But I think Joe Smith Jr., with this performance, he's definitely stuck his flag in the ground and made a claim to his spot. So just good stuff for him. I'm happy for him. I think at bare minimum, the worst you could say for Joe Smith Jr. is that he has now fully established himself as a top 5 light heavyweight. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And he's come a long way. This is a guy that, beat Fonfara, which was an upset. He knocked Bernard Hopkins out the ring. Then he lost to Barrera. Was a good fight. Gave a decent account of himself against Bivol, even though he lost the majority of the rounds. Joe has come a long way in his career, and I'm happy for him because he's a humble guy, and he wasn't supposed to be here. So I always love seeing guys like him win in boxing. But shout out to Joe Smith. So that's pretty much what I thought about the top rank card. And then just a couple of thoughts about the other fights on the PBC card besides Justin DeLoach. Let's first start off with Joey Spencer. Okay, Joey Spencer. Let's talk about Joey Spencer. Okay, this is a guy that I've criticized a lot here on True School Sports. This is a kid that I'm not a big fan of, to be honest with you, because, I'll tell you why I'm not a big fan of him. He did an interview when Romo Gonzalez lost to Ramasai a couple of years ago on Dante's Boxing Nation, and he had the audacity and the conviction in his heart to look into the camera and say that fighters like Romo Gonzalez don't last in boxing. So I took that as disrespectful to the sport of boxing because Romo Gonzalez is one of the best things about boxing. He's a hell of a fighter, and he's been a great ambassador for the sport. So who are you, a nobody fighter, to call Romo Gonzalez someone that's not going to last in boxing? So that kind of left the sour taste in my mouth. But as I've gotten to watch more of his interviews and stuff, he seems like a nice guy. So I don't hate the kid. I just don't think he's as good as advertised. He hasn't shown me any reason to believe he is as good as advertised. The PBC has put him in there with some of the biggest cans they could find. And he found one guy, I can't remember his name, but he found one guy who was a firefighter who hadn't boxed for like 3 or 4 years and went the full distance with him, you know. So I really haven't been impressed with Joey Spencer. But in this fight, I'll give him his credit because he earned it. He scored a sensational 4th round KO over a guy named Sean West. And he looked great. You know, he was putting his hands together. He was showing great hand speed. He looked like somebody that is worthy of being a fighter on TV. So congratulations to Joey Spencer. You've taken the first step in your progression as a professional fighter. Now, can you continue to do that? Can you continue to improve as a fighter? And can you continue to beat better opposition? These are the questions I now have, because now I've seen it. Now that I've seen it one time, now that I see that you can be entertaining once on TV, I say, okay, he at least deserves to be on TV. So I'll stop saying, at least for the time being, don't put his ass on TV. Now, can you, I think he's like 10-0, 11-0. Can you continue to step up and be the best version of yourself moving forward? And there are some guys I'd like to see Joey Spencer fight as a step-up fight. I did mention Clay Collard earlier. I don't think it's realistic, but Clay Collard, that'd be a great test for Joey Spencer. That'd be the ultimate test for Joey Spencer. It's the ultimate test for any prospect. You got him, but a fight that I think is a lot more realistic that I think could get done if they pushed for it, which I don't think they will, but I would like to see it, is maybe Joey Spencer against a guy like Shane Mosley Jr., a guy who never really quite cracked the world level. The only world level guy Mosley Jr. ever fought that I can think of right now was Jason Quigley, and he lost to him. And then he lost to my homeboy from Texas, who's not a world level fighter, and Mark Christopher Atkins. Mark Christopher Atkins was a former Earl Spence sparring partner, and he lost. Yeah, he got the first loss of his career. The first loss that Shane Mosley Jr. got was to Mark Christopher Atkins. So I like to see Joey Spencer against either Clay Collard or Shane Mosley Jr. I think those would be realistic and legitimate first step fights for him. And if he could pass those fights for flying colors, then I'll have to start taking him seriously as a prospect. But until then, good performance. But I just don't think that much of Joey Spencer. And then the last fight I'm going to talk about before I end the live and wrap it up, and I'll talk to you guys for a bit on the comments, was Sebastian Fundora. Sebastian Fundora. Okay, this praying man, freaking guy, man. This guy Fundora, this guy Fundora, he's 6'7", all right. He's freaking 6'7". The guy should not be at 154, but somehow he managed to be at 154. He makes the weight, so you can't really punish him for that. That's where he's at. That works for him. Hey, so fair play to him. Now, I remember very clearly that Fundora fought on the Tyson Fury Wilder undercard. He fought a guy named Craig Lewis. Didn't look that impressive against Craig Lewis. It was very lackluster. But I gave Fundora the benefit of the doubt because he's beaten some good fighters on his resume. Early in his career, he beat a talented fighter that I know personally, that I've seen in the gym, so I know how talented he is. He beat Vic Tony, who I hope to God can get more fights and get active, because he's a talented fighter that just hasn't had the right people behind him. But he beat Vic Tony early in his career. He beat some other guys whose names I can't remember right now. But this fight, this performance here was just an amazing performance from him against a guy in Gallimore. Gallimore has beaten Justin DeLoach. Gallimore has beaten Jason Rosario. Gallimore has some stake in the division. He's a name 154 that we as boxing fans know. I know him. You know him. We all know him if we follow boxing. Fundora, from the moment I tuned into this fight to the moment it ended, constant pressure. We're talking 55 to 70 punches every round, to the body, to the head, making his presence felt and making his, making his presence felt. Gallimore, the whole fight he was basically he was a turtle, because he was out there shelling up the whole fight, just shelling up, trying to keep this guy off of him, and he really had no answers for Fundora. And I would even say Fundora in this particular fight, he beat Gallimore better than Julian Williams did, and Julian Williams beat Gallimore. He beat the shit out of Gallimore, but he beat, in my opinion, he beat Gallimore better than Julian Williams did, and he beat Nathaniel Gallimore better than Eric Slubin did. So I'm not gonna say that makes him this elite fight on 154, but it is, to me at least, it's a minor statement. He stopped Nathaniel Gallimore, so shout out to him. I think the next order of business for Fundora in his career is that he needs to go give Jamonte Clark a rematch. They had a draw, so I want to see him go and avenge that draw. And if he can do that, then I think he can move on to bigger and better things. But all in all, a hell of a performance from Fundora against Gallimore. Really impressed by that performance. So that's pretty much my synopsis of all the fights that happened last week. I didn't feel like going through the trouble of making one video one by one because of the fact that like this week for me coming up is going to be a very busy week. I'm going to be getting you guys a lot of content. I'm going to a lot of gyms. I haven't had my camcorder charged for like damn near 2-3 weeks. My dumb ass left the charge at Mundo Boxing Gym, so I had to go there today, and it's kind of far from where I live. So now that I got it back, we're back in business here on True School Sports. So let's get some comments before we close it out. Shout out to my main man, Chase Athletics. Okay, Chase Athletics says the following. He says that Fundora or Spencer is not ready for Clay Collatrd or Sebastian Fundora. I don't think he is either. That's why I'm suggesting guys like, well, maybe not Clay Collatrd, but like Shane Mosley Jr. I think would be a good test for him because Shane Mosley Jr. is not a world level fighter. Shane Mosley Jr. has lost to club fighters and he's lost to world level fighters. He's lost to all kinds of different fighters. So if he can't beat Shane Mosley Jr., then I don't know why he's in boxing. I don't even know why he's boxing. You see what I'm saying? So we'll see. I'm gonna stay on for like maybe 10 more minutes because I gotta go work on some other videos. But get your questions in. If you guys got any questions, drop them down below. Also want to say this. Okay, I want to say this. I'm going to be live tomorrow twice. If you didn't catch what I said at the beginning of this live, I'll say it again now because there's more people on. I'll be live twice tomorrow. I'll be live for the Daniel Dubois card, and I'll be live for the Victor Postal card with Jose Ramirez. It's gonna be a great time. Yo, Alex, come over here, man. We'll close the show talking to Alex because Alex wanted to be in the live, but I told Alex like you didn't watch none of these fights, so you won't know what I'm talking about. Shout out to my man Alex. Yo, Alex got the Thrasher hoodie on. He's looking real hype beast right now. You know what I'm saying? But how you feeling, Alex? You good?
I'm all right. Yeah, I was just studying the NBA again.
Oh, you were? What were you studying?
Man, I had to get familiar with the teams again.
I feel
I just recently found out that Russell Westbrook is on the Houston Rockets.
That's right.
I just now found that out. So, yeah, shout out to Russell Westbrook.
Yo, for people out there, Alex, tell what your favorite NBA team is.
Man, the Warriors are going to come back, bro. I know we were injured.
Yeah, Warriors fan.
We got some good players coming in, bro. Like, I forgot who they just got, bro.
Who the Warriors got?
Yeah, you said they had I don't know, because I haven't been watching.
Well, they got a chance. Who do they just get?
Yeah. Like, I know they got a number 2.
Yeah, they got a draft pick. They got a high draft pick. They might get Giannis. Pick. They might get a Greek pick. They're in good position.
Okay, that's what I was thinking of. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Greek freak, bro. So, anyway, what should we talk about, man?
Well, I'm gonna ask you because you wanted to talk. I think you wanted to talk about what did you want to talk about? I'll let you pick. What do you want to talk about?
Man, I want to talk about the Dillian Whyte fight.
Go.
Basically.
Talk your shit out. Go ahead.
Man, look, honestly, bro, I think Dillian Whyte, he didn't have to give Povetkin that fight. To be honest with you, it wasn't ordered.
That's true.
He didn't have to, just like how Joshua didn't have to give Ruiz a chance either,
Mm-hmm.
So, in other words, bro, I think the rematch clause is right.
Okay.
Because he didn't have to, give Povetkin the fight. It wasn't ordered. He just wanted to fight somebody who was tough. One of the best.
I actually, the funny thing is, objectively speaking, I agree with you. I just don't want anything that interferes with Joshua versus Fury. I want to see that fight so badly.
And since there's a rematch, I don't think it's gonna interfere with that because
it works out perfectly. It works out perfectly.
Exactly. Dillian Whyte and Povetkin will be busy with each other. After that fight, maybe Ruiz. Mm-hmm. Et cetera, bro. So Dillian Whyte is gonna come back stronger. He did put Povetkin on his ass 2 times in round 4. Yeah, he did get stopped in round 5, but hey, like they said with Pacquiao and Marquez, it was a lucky punch. All right.
Now, and like Joshua said, it was lucky punch from the gods.
Exactly, bro. So, yeah, Dillian Whyte, I'm rooting for you, man. Povetkin, shout out to you, by the way, but I'm still rooting for Dillian Whyte in the rematch.
Okay.
All right. So I wanted to talk about that.
What did you think about Joe Smith Jr. knocking Elliot Alvarez out the ring like Bernard Hopkins?
Man, he kind of did the same thing to Fonfara too. So shout out to Joe Smith Jr. He has the power to knock people out the ring. Shout out to construction workers. Y'all are tough, man. Y'all are tough. That's all I gotta say. And he's about to get to a world title. What world title I meant? So between two Russian dudes, I forgot their names, but shout out to them as well.
I know one fight that you're like. I mean, I'm hyped for this fight because I can't stop watching his fights, and I know you're hyped for this fight.
Yeah.
Jamel Charlo versus Jason Rosario. How do you feel about the one? Who are you favoring and why?
The banana versus the lion, man.
The banana versus the lion.
Yeah, this is interesting,
fact.
man. This is interesting, man. Yo, the lion's gonna choke on the banana.
Ooh, sweet. So you going Rosario too?
I'm going for Rosario.
My man, he going Rosario too.
The lion is gonna choke on the banana, bro. Watch, bro. So yeah, Jason Rosario. I didn't know that he took the Gallimore fight on short notice. I was wondering why, like, even though Gallimore is a tough fighter anyway.
Mm-hmm. I watched that fight last night.
Yeah,
Rosario. Like people don't say this. This way you gotta watch fight for yourself. People don't say this, but Rosario, he was 22 years old.
Yeah,
he was not even fully mature. Gallimore was like 28. He's in his physical prime, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
But if you watch that fight, Rosario had Gallimore hurt multiple times.
I remember.
And there was a part in the fight where they both threw a jab.
Mm-hmm.
And Rosario literally, I don't want to say he hurt him, but he knocked him off balance with a jab. Like, you kind of know. You remember how Kovalev used to knock people off balance with a jab?
Yeah.
It was kind of like that.
Yeah, I remember that. Wait, he actually knocked him down?
Not down, but he knocked him off balance. They both threw jabs, and his jab was more effective. His jab actually made an impact and a dent on Gallimore. And this is at 22 years old.
At 22
Now
years
he's
old.
25 years old. Now he's got his man strength. Now he's got the confidence of beating a guy like Julian Williams on the road. And they say, like, when a fighter becomes champion, he becomes, like, 20% harder to beat.
Yeah.
And Jamel Charlo's a guy, like, no disrespect to him, because I gotta be honest with you guys. If you follow my channel, if you've heard me talk about Jamel Charlo, you know I'm not the biggest fan of the guy. I like his brother more than I like him. I think he's whatever. But he's proved me wrong so many times. I had to put respect on his name. I picked against him so many times. I had to put respect on his name. Okay, I've grown to like the Charlos.
Mm-hmm.
I can actually say this without any reservations, that when the Charlos leave boxing, I'll actually be sad. I like the Charlos. They're entertaining. All right, keep one in your mouth. Okay, I like the Charlos, but objectively speaking, I don't see how, because like Rosario, the thing people don't understand about Rosario, because most people haven't taken the time to really watch his fights, is that, like, he's both physically strong, and he's got the punching power, and he actually has boxing skills. He's got all them things.
Mm-hmm.
He is going to be a very difficult fight for Jamel Charlo. And if the Jamel Charlo that fought Harrison in the rematch, if a guy like that, anything similar shows up into this fight with with Rosario, get the ambulance ready.
Yeah.
Get the ambulance ready.
True, man, true. And yeah, man, I'm going for banana. Let's go Rosario.
Okay.
Let's go Rosario. What other fights do we got, BC?
We got let me see. I'm drawing a blank. Let's see, September. Oh, you got the other Charlo. You got Jamal versus Derevyanchenko,
man. Now, out of the Charlo brothers, I like Jamal, man. And Derevyanchenko, bro, shout out to him. He's a Ukrainian fighter, countryman. I don't know who to go for in that fight. I like both fighters, actually. I'd be happy if, like, either fighter wins. So,
wow. Oh, how about tomorrow's fights? We can't go tomorrow. We got
Posto and Ramirez.
I should say today. It's 12/8/17 now. So today's fights, you got Victor Posto versus Jose Ramirez. So how you feeling? How you feeling about that one?
Man, I don't think Posto's gonna beat him, but like,
it's the Iceman.
Best of luck to him. Hopefully he comes with the upset.
Yeah, and you got Dan Dubois fighting some guy I never heard of for the WBO International Heavyweight title. Got that fight.
Mm-hmm. And
I got a question for you.
Yes,
I have a question for you. How do you feel about the current state of women's boxing?
Man,
are you a bigger fan of women's boxing these days, or no? Or just whatever? It's still whatever to you.
Yeah, it's still whatever to me. I mean, shout out to who was it? Jessica McCaskill,
Katie Taylor.
Man, I heard. First of all, I heard Katie Taylor got a gift again.
She did.
I watched the first fight, and
this one wasn't as bad as the first fight though.
Really? But I gotta watch the rematch. But hey, she has Delphine Persoon problems. Shout out to Delphine Persoon. Better Swedish fighter than Badu Jack, am I right?
It's a fact.
Oh no, it's a joke.
They both get robbed.
Yeah, they do.
Swedish fighters, they stay getting robbed.
Man,
Yo, Max, you tripping?
What did Max say?
Max says that you sound like El Jefe. This guy that comes to my live name El Jefe, and he says, bro, like everything. It's like, nah, bro, you ducking the smoke, bro. I'm from Oak Cliff, bro. Mm-hmm. That's how he said. So Mini Max saying you sound like him.
Oh yeah, shout out to who is it? El Jefe.
El Jefe. From Oak Cliff.
I still want to talk to. I don't want to mention his name.
I'll say H Money.
I still want to talk to H Money, man. Devin Haney, bro, best lightweight in the world, youngest promoter in the world, richest in the
youngest millionaire.
Yeah, youngest millionaire, bro. Tell me any 18-year-old who got Black China, bro.
Oh God, that's not anything to be proud of, Alex.
Bro, I don't. Hey,
you shouldn't be proud of that.
18 though, bro. Like, bro, he was a young man, bro. Shout out. Now, hear me out real quick.
Glenn Avery says, "Hey yo, why y'all wearing hoodies in humid ass South Florida? Nothing but love though. Well, we're inside, and the AC is kind of cold.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, no, it's not. It's actually pretty hot in here too right now.
Well, I'm chilling. I love this slasher hoodie.
I'll be honest with you. I'm just wearing this because I didn't feel like putting a shirt on. I was lazy.
$70. This is $70 I'm wearing right here.
Okay.
All right.
No.
Anyway.
But yeah, I didn't feel like putting a shirt on, so I just grabbed the first thing I could find. It happened to be a hoodie. But this kid right here, we walk to like Walgreens or like we'll go somewhere, and you be wearing hoodies in the middle of the day. I'm like, yo, Alex, why are you wearing a hoodie?
It's
and he's
style.
like, bro, it's like a style. Like
it's
you just
style.
You just wouldn't understand, bro. Like
he still doesn't understand.
I'm not trying to understand. That's stupidity.
Man, I've been doing it for years, and I'm still alive, bro.
Okay,
you know.
Yeah. Look what Manny Max said.
Yeah, what do you say? Haney. Yeah, you already know, bro.
Felix Verdejo will beat his ass, bro.
Felix Verdejo got.
I want to let all 80 people here know.
Got a loss.
I want to let all 80 people here know that if Devin Haney fights Felix Verdejo will beat his ass.
Who's undefeated?
Undefeated don't mean nothing.
That does?
No, it doesn't.
Who did Verdejo beat?
Who did he beat? He beat Will Madera.
Who?
Will Madera, who beat Thomas Matisse.
Okay. Devin Haney beat Antonio Moran.
Oh.
All right. Moran will beat those dudes, bro.
So Alex has been doing this thing the last 2 weeks for like
Mason Menard.
Alex has become a Devin Haney troll.
And here's the difference between
he trolls all day and he talks about how great Antonio Moran is and Mason Menard.
He's trolling it real. No, don't listen to BT. Now, let me tell you why Devin Haney's win over Menard is better than Lopez's win.
Go ahead.
Shout out to Teofimo, by the way. But you know, Haney got the rounds in. And not only did he get the rounds in, but he also got the stoppage and made him quit.
You sound foolish.
He made him quit, bro.
You sound foolish. Yo, when
Lopez knocked him out, but it wasn't a fight. It was just like a 30-second knockout.
When Teofimo Lopez,
like, it's cool, but you need to get the rounds.
When Teofimo fought Mason Menard,
he
made that motherfucker do the Heisman, bro. You know what the Heisman Trophy is in college football? When they go like this, have you seen it before? Hey. That's exactly what Teofimo did with that right hand. He went, bah! He goes like this. Mason Menard was like this, and then he made the canvas, like just fell down.
Yeah, but Haney, bro, he got the rounds in and the stoppage.
All right, so can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Devin Haney? Do you think Devin Haney is being ducked by the top 135 pounders in the world?
Yes, sir, bro. Yes, sir. He's being ducked by Ryan Garcia, heavier Fontuna,
Lomachenko.
You know, man.
You don't want to say that because
no. Shout out to Lomachenko.
That's your countryman.
I love Lomachenko, by the way. Lomachenko's not ducking him. He has Lopez to deal with, right? But man,
is Lopez ducking him?
Man, not. They already made the fight.
Okay, all right.
They already made the fight.
I'm glad. Baby. I'm glad that
undisputed. Baby.
That you ain't going that far because, hey, he might watch this. He might even be here right now, so we never know. But
shout out to Lopez.
H Money, if you're here, man, like H Money be saying like, oh yeah, Lomachenko and Lopez are ducking Devin Haney. We ain't worried about Devin Haney. We ain't worried about. Listen, ain't nobody worried about Leonard Ellaby's son with them big ass nostrils.
Man,
nobody's worried about Devin Haney.
Bro, he's so good, bro. He didn't have to fight anybody just to win the title. They emailed it to him.
Oh,
because the WBC, they recognize talent when they see it. You know what, Devin?
Nah, honestly,
he beat all these dudes.
Riddick
so
Bowe was right.
Riddick,
everybody says, "Oh, Riddick Bowe threw his belt in the garbage." Riddick Bowe was right. WBC is trash. Like he was probably dealing with this kind of bullshit behind the scenes back in the day, and
because he didn't want to fight Lennox Lewis.
He ain't afraid of no damn Lennox Lewis. He ain't afraid of no damn Lennox Lewis.
Nah, shout out to Riddick Bowe though.
Shout out to Riddick Bowe. I miss Riddick Bowe, man.
Same, man.
I miss that guy.
Same. Riddick Bowe, shout out to all them dudes.
Yeah.
But yeah, bro, Devin Haney, bro.
Yeah, but honestly, Felix Verdell will beat his ass, bro. Let's keep it a buck. Felix Verdell will beat his ass.
Yo, we don't even remember the guy who beat Felix Verdell. That's
Antonio Lozada?
That's how bad that loss was, bro. He got a loss. Devin Haney's undefeated. He ain't losing to no dude named Antonio Lozada. All the Antonios he beat, he won. Antonio Moran. Like, dang. And that knockout, bro. And that knockout. Yeah.
You gotta go. You know, we have to get you on H Money's channel sometime. Y'all can go be best friends, bro. Yeah, because that's what sometimes I close my eyes and he sounds just like H Money.
Man, Devin Haney, bro. Devin Haney. Man, he's gonna be the best. No, he is the best lightweight in the world. He ain't have to beat anybody just to get the title. They emailed it to him. How many people like do it like that? Bro, he's a trendsetter, bro. Canelo.
Devin Haney's just a fake Ryan Garcia, bro.
See, Canelo, man, he's a trendsetter for starting the franchise championship.
Oh, speaking of Canelo, what do you think about Canelo versus Avni Algero?
Man,
it's not happening, but
it's not happening.
He tried to do it.
He tried to do it, and he asked for it, right?
He requested it, and then the WBC was like, "Yeah, well, these are one of the privileges he has as a franchise champion. He can request it."
You know what, man?
Do you, is that a fight of interest to you? Do you want to see Canelo versus the Robot?
Man, Avni Yildirim, bro. Hell no. By the way, hell no. Like, you're supposed to be the top fighter in all of boxing, the whole sport, quote unquote. Even though I think Joshua and Fury are more hotter than him. Yeah, bro. When you fight, I mean, no disrespect to Avni Yildirim, like. He's a good competitor. He gave Anthony Durrell some problems, you know.
He's a solid competitor,
but he's been inactive.
It's true. Yeah, I want to go. Hey, shout out to my. I've been seeing his comments, but I haven't even acknowledged them. Shout out to my main man, Marshall Ministry. He says, "How is Avni Yildirim rated so high in the WBC rankings after getting KO'd by Eubank?"
I mean, he worked his way up.
He fought a bunch of stiffs. Like, because what's funny is I remember when he was fighting those stiffs, because when he was fighting those stiffs, he was being trained by my good friend Stacey McKinley. Mm-hmm. I used to see Avni train at his gym all the time.
And then he fought. He
was fighting like Lalonga Mock and them guys like that.
Derek Edwards.
Shout
out to Derek Edwards, by the way. I used to be friends with him on Facebook. Shout out to him. You know what I'm saying? But and he knocked out Badu Jack in one round. One of the only guys to legitimately beat him. So you got to put some respect on the man's name. On
Avni's name or Derek?
Derek.
Well, Avni beat Derek.
Huh?
Avni Yildirim beat Derek.
Yeah, no, exactly. He beat a guy who, like, you know, is okay, like C-level.
Okay.
I'd say. So, you know, then he fought Anthony Durrell, you know, gave him some problems. They said it was controversial. But he's been inactive, though. That's the thing. He's been inactive. He hasn't fought in, what, a year and a half?
Yeah, read the comment.
What's the comment? Haney willing to fight anyone right now, but nobody wants to smoke. Yo, exactly, bro. He called out Javier Fortuna, bro, after Jorge Linares. Shout out to Jorge Linares, by the way. Tested positive for coronavirus. But even Linares didn't want that smoke. And I love Linares. But Devin Haney, bro. They don't want the smoke with him.
Now, I highly doubt Devin Haney will watch my channel because maybe he will. You never know. Sometimes people watch these videos. But I doubt he'll watch this video because this video is not even about him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the only way he's going to get this is if, like, somebody tells him, hey, they talked about you at this point in the video. But if Devin Haney somehow, the stars aligned and the Milky Ways and the quasars came together and created a 77-degree equinox, mm-hmm. Devin Haney does watch this video. What do you want to tell Devin Haney?
Man, hey, yo, you a king, bro. Shout out to you, bro. Bro, they don't want smoke with you, bro. They don't want smoke with you, bro. Like, yo, you the youngest promoter in all of boxing, bro. You're the youngest promoter in all of boxing, bro. Like, and I gotta give him respect, bro. You got to put respect on the man's name.
It was illegal to turn pro in the States before the age of 18, so he went into Mexico.
Yo,
He found a loophole.
Yo, you already fought outside of your own home country before you were 18, bro. Shout out to you.
People used to call him a puto. He would go find some Mexican like cab driver, but on the way to the ring, people would call him a puto, and they'd want to spit on him and
because they don't want to see a young American boy succeed, bro. Shout out to Devin Haney, bro.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like, yeah.
You know, all jokes aside, I met Devin Haney earlier this year. I did an interview with him. It wasn't one of my best. I'll be honest with you. It wasn't one of my best interviews. It was kind of rushed, but he was a nice guy when I met him. So I can't really talk bad about him. I heard Jacobs Rosado is probably next. I wish they made Jacobs Ryder. Yo, Jacobs versus John Ryder would be cool. And it's probably the better fight from an objective boxing fan standpoint. But, yo, Jacobs Rosado, that's going to be hype. Yo, do you remember when Rosado got in Jacobs' face?
Yeah, I saw that.
And then Jacob was like, man, you want to know why you want something from me? Because you don't deserve something from me. And then Rosado was all serious. He's like, yeah. And what makes you think that? And then Jacob looks him right in the eye and says, because of your record.
Yo, and I mean, you know, I will keep it a buck, bro. Like, I respect Rosario. I respect Jacobs, but Jacobs did kind of have a point. So Jacobs is literally blessing the man with opportunity.
That's right.
I mean, yeah, maybe his record, but he was tough in those fights. You know, gave Triple G problems.
Yo,
even though Triple G,
I'm probably in the minority. I know a lot of us don't want to see Jacobs versus Rosado, but I want to see this fight.
Man, it's gonna be hype. Oh, it's on the table.
Give one put on true. Am I frozen, guys? Am I frozen? Enrique says I froze up. Let's see. What's going on?
Oh, okay. I was about to.
Oh yeah, apparently we're frozen. Okay, if we're frozen, I'm gonna refresh. Hold on 1 second, guys. 1 second. Fuck. All right, and we're back. Can you guys see me? Let me know in the comments. All right, we're back. All right. Lord. Yo, but yeah, honestly, look, obviously we know that there's better fights out there for Daniel Jacobs. Like, I like Daniel Jacobs. You know, shout out to him, by the way. He's going out with Angela Simmons. You know, Run DMC's daughter.
Okay, there you go.
Angela Simmons.
That's
his girl now. Shout out to him. So he winning in and out the ring. Shout out to him. But
man,
I'm actually not even against freaking the Rosado fight, because first of all, Rosado always puts on good fights. And right now, like Rosado, like, I know the promoters are not going to be willing to pay for the big fights at the moment because there's no fans. So it's an easy fight to make.
Mm-hmm.
It's an easy fight to make, and it's going to be entertaining for as long as it lasts. And the build-up's going to be world class. You know, them just meeting each other and passing was funny as hell. For me, it was, at least. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, no cap. But seeing it based on the past, though, I feel like it's going to stop on his cuts.
He's gonna cut with a jab in the first round.
Yeah, but you know, shout out to Rosario, bro. He always brings a good fight, bro.
Rosario.
No,
Rosado. Gabe Rosado.
They said, oh yeah, Gabe Rosado. They said Rosario.
No, they said Rosado.
Oh well, he spelled it Rosario or something. Maybe I don't know. Gabriel Rosario. Rosado. I thought I keep saying no. It's because I keep thinking the
Jason Rosario.
Yeah,
man, you really a big Jason Rosario fan. Now I want you guys to know, Alex is still pissed off over the Rolando Amiro decision, because Jackson. I thought Jackson Martinez won pretty easily myself.
Mm-hmm.
But he says that you said that fight made you want Jason Rosado to want to win this fight more for the Dominican fighters. Because they don't want to respect the Dominican fighters, man.
Exactly, bro. Like, even with Javier Fortuna, like, his fight with Granados, I was disappointed of how he went out, but even respect to him, bro. But you need to fight Devin Haney, by the way. All right, Javier Fortuna, I do respect you, but fight Devin Haney, bro. Come on, man. Like, come on. Do it for the culture, bro. Do it. You got to step up. So, shout out to Javier Fortuna, Jackson Mariñez.
Yeah, Jackson Mariñez.
Jason Rosario.
Felix Diaz,
man. Felix
Valera.
Carlos Adames, Felix Valera. All them boys.
Why do you like the Dominican fighters so
Glenn
much?
Tapia, actually, too.
Glenn Tapia.
Shout out to Glenn Tapia.
Glenn Tapia. All right, Kevin. Take care, champ. Have a good night. Glenn Tapia. So why do you like?
shout out to Glenn Tapia.
Why do you like? Why do you like Dominican fighters so much?
Man, shout out to them boys, bro. Like Jackson Mariñez, they just have good talent, bro. Like hidden talent. Yennefer Vicente, too, by the way.
I'm gonna tell you about two Dominican fighters that you probably don't know about, but you're gonna hear about them in the future. They're very good, bro.
Okay.
I'll let you go. You guys might know these guys. So one Dominican fighter that I think people should look out for is Michel Rivera. He's a PBC fighter. He fought. His biggest fight was Fidel Maldonado Jr., the guy that Miramon fought when he was a prospect. I don't know if you remember that fight, but Rivera fought him. He fought him on the
I probably watched this fight.
undercard of Ugas versus who the fuck he fought in January. I don't remember whoever Ugas fought in January this year. I forgot who it was. So he's very good, very talented. I had a chance to interview him here on True School Sports. He trains here in South Florida at the Herman Caicedo gym where Ortiz is from. Right. He's a good, talented fighter at 135. He's a dark horse. If you're looking for a dark horse, he's one of them. Dark horse, all right. And then the other guy, listen, I kid you not, barely anybody knows about this guy. Like this right here is True School Sports exclusive because the only reason I even know this guy is because I know his trainer. Mm-hmm. But he's gonna be one to watch. I've seen him spar. He's really talented. This kid named Frenchie Fortunato.
Okay,
Frenchie Fortunato. That motherfucker could fight. He could really fight. I mean, he's long, athletic. I think he boxes at like 130. Got tree trunk arms, fast. I'm talking like fast as I don't know what, just fast.
Yeah.
The Dominican Republic's churning out some good talent right now. I gotta tip my cap because the Dominicans are doing hell of a job as a fellow Dominicano. Because nobody knows what the hell I am.
Yeah.
Like I come on here sometimes and people are like, Brendan, are you white? Brendan, are you black? What are you?
Yeah.
Are you Puerto Rican? Are you Mexican? Like my heritage, my nationality is Puerto Rican. My dad's Puerto Rican. He's of Puerto Rican descent. He was born on the island. My mom is Dominican and Cuban, so therefore my heritage is Puerto Rican, Dominican, and Cuban. But if you ask me what I am, I'm going to tell you I'm an American because I am an American. I was born here. I've lived here, and up until just last December, I've been in America. I never got outside of America.
You went to the UK. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Shout out to the UK as well. Shout out to everywhere, man. Like, for real.
Shout out to everywhere. With the whole exactly. Guido Bion says, "Yo, BT, I'm Dominican Enrique. Hey, shout out to you, man. We're both one and the same, man. DR and PR are both building for the near future. Yeah, exactly. And I would say Puerto Rico has always been a fixture in boxing, but the DR, Dominican Republic, man, they don't really have the kind of history Puerto Rico does in boxing. As many of us know, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, they dominate baseball. Dominicans dominate baseball. Like Dominicans got some of the best baseball players. Shout out to exactly. Yeah. And Alice only like baseball like that, but he know about Big Papi. Mm-hmm. Here you go. Look, I knew that when I said this. Look, I knew that when I said this, that they were gonna say, "But you're too brown to be an American." Well, see, was it Astrophy?
Yeah,
you're a Houston Astros fan. You cheaters, bunch of cheaters. But that's not true because, and I was just explaining this to somebody the other day. People always say America has no culture, but I would argue that America is the only country on earth where you cannot put the culture of America in a box. So people get intellectually lazy and they say, oh, well, America has no culture. But the thing is, like, America is 50 worlds all in one. South Florida ain't the same as Idaho, and Idaho ain't the same as New York City, and New York City ain't the same as Arizona or California. There's so much. America is such a diverse place. So I say that to say I'm actually I'm more than proud enough to be an American.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you like that. What are some interesting Japan and Cuba? Oh yeah. Man, Cuba.
Well, the thing is, like, Japan has a rich history of boxing, like a really, 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 really rich history of boxing. It don't get talked about as much because, you know, like, it's over there. It's mainstream. They don't speak English. Like, there's and most of their fighters are on smaller weight classes that don't get a lot of shine. But they got as rich a boxing history as anybody there is.
Yeah. Is it safe to say that they're the dark horse of, like, when it comes to boxing? Like, because when it comes to boxing, we talk about Americans,
the Mexicans,
British, Mexicans.
They're honestly, like, hey, no disrespect to the Brits, but personally for me, I think Japan has a much, like, bigger, not much bigger, but they have better. Yeah, they have better fighters in the UK overall. Of course, history. That might be a bit controversial, but
yeah, true. I mean, I don't know all of them myself, but the ones I do know, man, shout out to Naoya Inoue,
Kosei Tanaka,
Jorge Linares. He lived there for like a decade. He has Japan citizenship.
You damn right.
Who else, man? He retired. Takashi Miura when he fought Francisco Vargas.
That was a fight. That was a good fight.
That was a fight I was fighting for. Takashi Uchiyama. All those dudes,
Shinsuke Yamanaka, Akira
Yamanaka,
Yagashi, Kazuto Ioka, Kenshiro, and listen, all these guys we're naming are all recent guys. If you go back to, like, the older days, there's even more fighters.
Ryuta Murata, shout out to him.
And one of the by the way, Minimax, you damn right. BT 2024 president. You damn right, champ. You damn right. Nakatani, the one that fought Lopez. Who else? Japan just has so many fighters, man. It's like I think Japan doesn't really, like, from I'm talking about, like, from the masses. They don't really get their due.
He fought Sergey Lipinets, that guy's name. But you know who I'm talking about.
Akiri Kondo.
Yeah, there we go.
Akiri Kondo, that's another one.
Yes, sir. I mean, Japan has good talent, bro. Like, they don't really talk. Sad, bro. Okay, isn't Queso Galaxy from there?
Yes.
There you go. He was on the pound for pound list.
He was on the damn pound list, but
up there with Mike Tyson, bro.
Nobody remembers him. But yeah. he was legit.
Yeah, man.
He was too legit to quit. He was really good. He was really good.
Yes, sir, man. So yeah, shout out to Japan, bro.
Now, you can't hate on Japan, man. That's actually somewhere I really want to go at some point.
Japan, yeah.
Yeah. That's gonna be far, because I remember England was what?
18. That's gonna be like an 18 hour.
England was like a 13-hour flight. That's like 19-hour flight.
Yeah.
So that's going to change my whole life. Flight.
Yeah, man. Whole different time zone and everything.
But yeah, I wanted to let y'all know, I haven't really scheduled the interviews this week, so I can't say for certain what interviews I'm going to get, but I'm going to try to interview Jason Rosario this week because I know his trainer really well, and the gym's not too far from where I live. And that's an interview that I'm sure a lot of people would like to see. So I'll be shooting for that. I'm going to take Alex with me. There's going to go probably pay Stacey McKinley a visit. Now we're getting some good questions. We're getting some good questions here. Misty Mountain. Shout out to Misty Mountain. She says, have you ever boxed? Now, I don't know if you're asking me that question or ask that question, but I'll answer for myself. If you mean, did I compete as a boxer? The answer to that question would be a resounding no. I did not. I did not box as an amateur. Nor did I box as a professional. But I sparred a good. I could say probably a couple hundred rounds. It was a good amount of rounds. I used to train at Kino's boxing gym. I've trained at other gyms. Like I used to train at the Heavyweight Factory, things like that. I mean, I did spar one professional, but like he's not like anybody you guys would know. But I spar. You could say I sparred a professional. So to answer your question. Yes, I boxed. Did I compete? I did not compete. But the education I got from sparring, I took along with my knowledge as a fan and True School Sports was born. That's why we're here. I love boxing like you love boxing.
Mm-hmm. I try to myself too. I just train. Nothing cool as far.
But see,
yeah,
y'all don't know this about Alex. Y'all just see him and y'all make fun of his pink hair. But y'all don't know how far this man came. I could tell this. I could tell him the story, but you probably could tell him the story. You could tell him the story.
I mean, I guess so, bro.
Oh, when we tell a story, I'll tell the story.
Honestly, about the story, bro, it has to be really exclusive, bro. Like me, bro.
It has to be an interview.
Yeah, bro. It has to be an interview.
Okay, so I
will tell the story soon, y'all. All right.
Oh, we'll tell the story
soon, bro. It's gonna be a teaser, bro.
Okay, so we'll have the official Alex boxing story, and I think you guys would enjoy it. But we'll say that for another time. This is a great question from Marshall Ministry. He says, "What weight class would you be in True School Sports?" Okay, so right now, my weight is actually a little bit up right now because I haven't been working out as much recently. I'm kind of a fat ass, to be honest with you. I'm weighing around 136 right now. But if I competed, I'd probably be a featherweight. I'd probably be a featherweight. I'd probably drop down to 130, be a featherweight, or 126 be a featherweight, or I'd be a super bantamweight. So I would have to compete with like at 120. I'd probably say 122. That'd probably be my ideal weight class. So like I have to fight like Angelo Leo. I have to fight like Ray Vargas, Ali Akhmedov, Tremaine Williams, bum ass Stephen Fulton. Those guys.
MJ.
Yeah. Oh no, I didn't say Ali Akhmedov. MJ. I meant MJ Akhmedov. I get all
Uzbeks, bro.
The Uzbeks.
That's what I want to talk about.
Let's talk about the Uzbeks.
The Uzbek fighters, bro. Like, shout out to. I didn't watch his recent fight, but you told me about Israeli Matchroom.
Oh my god, what a fight! That Eric Walker fight was something else.
Man, exactly. Shout out to Eric Walker too. I heard, like he was like he fought in prison.
Yeah, he was fighting in prison. He was like like
Hopkins.
Yeah, he was like I think 70-2 in prison or something like that.
Hey, shout out to them prison boys, bro. Like for real. So yeah, Israeli Madrimov, MJ. Who else is an Uzbek fighter?
Bektir Malakuziev, you know Clay Collard?
Yeah.
He stopped Clay Collard in like 3 rounds.
Yeah, I remember that. No, Daniel, no, he's Kazakh. He's a Kazakh fighter, is he?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. Well, there was a bunch, but hey, shout out to them, bro. Like they're hidden talent too. Like I just can't remember the names right now, but yeah.
Yeah. Now here's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
My man Antonio Arneo asks, "Are you a Hornets fan?" I don't know. What you think, champ? Am I a Hornets fan? Gosh darn right, I'm a Hornets fan. I love the Hornets. It's funny. I don't even wear hats anymore. I used to wear hats, but now like I used to look kind of cool in hats, but now I look corny in hats. Now I don't wear looking hats anymore. I think I outgrew wearing hats, but yeah, I love the Hornets. That's my team, man. We got the 3rd overall pick in the draft. Hopefully, my main man LaMelo Ball's there, and the Hornets do right by themselves.
Man, Kobe was such a good player on the Hornets.
Shut up, man. Shut up. That's too much, man.
I'm joking.
By the way, when I say I'm a fat ass, just Glenn, when I say I'm a fat ass, I'm saying I'm a fat ass by my standards, which Alex could tell you I'm in pretty good shape. Like, I mean, I haven't been working out as much as I used to, but I'm in pretty damn good shape. Like at one point in time, I was like in dog shape. I'd be running for miles and miles and miles. I don't get tired. So I'm only a fat ass by my standards. Me being a fat ass is like if I don't work out for like a week. That's being a fat ass to me.
Man, you can be fat and still compete, man.
That's true.
Shout out to
Andy Ruiz.
Exactly, man.
That's it, man. That's it.
There you go. Man, wait, did we even talk about the Victor Postol
Ramirez fight?
Like, I don't think I
You just said
much.
you were excited about it.
Yeah, I'm just excited about it, I guess.
Well, that fight was like, what, 3... Got postponed. 3 was it 3 times?
2, 3
times. So
it was supposed to be in China.
I'm just glad this shit is happening.
Yo, it's funny, bro, because the pandemic didn't even start yet when the first time it got postponed.
Mm-hmm.
But it was supposed to be in China. So damn, bro, that just goes to show you, like that just really goes to show you, and yeah, man. Man, something else happened in boxing.
I don't know, but listen, guys, listen. We are definitely This live actually lasted a lot longer than I thought it would. I think this was gonna be like 2-hour live.
Oh yeah, you only wanted it to be an hour.
I just wanted it to be an hour. He'll tell you. I told Alex, I'm gonna get in and get out. But it wound up being a 2-hour live because I brought you on and we're having a good time. And I know that if I bring anybody on, this is gonna be a 6-hour live stream. It's gonna be a 7-hour live stream, and I need to get some sleep because I do need to have energy for tomorrow's live fight reactions.
One last question for you, bro.
Go ahead, ask away.
I realize there's Landy Lara fights tomorrow too.
Oh shit, you're right. Oh my god, he's fighting a can.
But at least he'll look, spectacular. Most likely.
He should. If he doesn't, he better just hang it up.
Yeah. How would you feel? How would you say he could compete against Rosario and Charlo, basically?
He don't want Rosario, bro. Look, he fought.
How do you think he'll do
against Rosario? He'll get flattened.
Okay.
He'll get flattened. That's what I think will happen.
Mm-hmm.
When he had a little bit more left than taking, he fought Hurt. We saw that. He competed. He did well, but he lost. Got dropped. And Hurt, listen, no disrespect to Jared Hurt. I like Jared Hurt, but he ain't punching like Rosario.
And that fight most likely took a toll on him.
Yeah, Minimax says that Lara's fighting the winner of Rosario Charlo.
He is the WBA regular
champion. But yeah, man. Listen, guys, I have to really get. Listen, I did this live. Oh God.
What happened?
I don't want to get into the whole Kobe Bryant is the best shooting guard of all time thing because I have a very unpopular opinion about that. Maybe one day I'll come on and I'll do a live that has nothing to do with boxing and we can talk about. I'll give you guys my basketball opinions and my baseball opinions if any of you like baseball or whatever other sports.
Kwame Brown is better than everybody.
Oh God. Anyway, I'm wrapping the live up, guys, because I do need to get some rest. So with that being said, actually we'll get to one question. What do you think about Sebastian Fundora, the towering inferno, the 6'7" praying mantis with boxing gloves on? What do you think about him?
I think he's good for boxing, man. He could be like just for his height and the weight class he's at.
Yeah,
he probably could be something big in boxing at least.
Yeah,
like Valuev was in Russia.
Maybe we'll have to see how he develops. But listen, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. Live fight reaction for Daniel Dubois will be in the afternoon. The Jose Ramirez Victor Postal will be at night. Be there or be square because it's going to be, obviously, the lives are always fun. So I appreciate people like Marshall Ministry and Minimax and Glenn, of course. I love Glenn. And Pops and everybody who's in the comment section that shows up to all these lives, no matter if I schedule them or not, because really it's just amazing. But yeah, be there for that tomorrow, guys. Go check out all the content on the channel. Be on the lookout for exclusive interviews dropping within the coming weeks, and that's what it is. Any closing message, Alex, to the people?
Man, shout out to everybody in this chat. Appreciate all y'all. Shout out to H Money. We got to talk sometime. Okay, well, there you have it. So like I say in every single one of these videos, you guys, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys. He better not.